Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel TechQuest Learning Point. I'm here with a new episode of the series tutorial Create ASP.NET Web Application using C#. Today I am going to start the 5th episode named Performing CRUD Operations of this series tutorial. The primary goal of this video session is to explain how a set of classes and components known as ADO.NET provided by the .NET framework enables developers to interact with data sources such as databases in an organized and efficient manner. In the final part of our session, we will illustrate how to utilize ADO.NET to fetch data from an SQL Server database by employing a data provider within the Microsoft Visual Studio 2022 environment. The agenda of this video session will be: number 1, using data adapters and datasets. Data adapters are essential for managing data interaction in ADO.NET, providing a means to retrieve, update, and manipulate data in a disconnected manner. Number 2, creating, reading, updating, and deleting data. Let's demonstrate how to insert, retrieve, update, and delete data using ADO.NET classes. Prerequisite of this series tutorial. Before starting this tutorial, you need to have the basic foundation on C#. You may follow the tutorial Programming C# for Beginners, which is the enough for making the foundation on C#. The link of the tutorial Programming with C# for Beginners is given in the description box. Please subscribe and stay with us if you want to get the upcoming episodes of the tutorial. Okay, let's start. Using data adapters and datasets. Data adapters in ADO.NET serve as a bridge between a dataset or data table and a data source, facilitating the retrieval and storage of data. They are responsible for filling datasets with the data from the database and updating the database with changes made in the dataset. This is particularly useful for disconnected data scenarios where the application does not maintain a constant connection to the database. Key roles of data adapters. Number 1, data retrieval. A data adapter fills a dataset or data table with data using its fill method. This typically involves executing a select command. Number 2, data update. Changes made to dataset, inserts, updates, deletes can be sent back to the database using the update method of the data adapter. This method executes the corresponding commands to apply these changes to the data source. Number 3, command configuration. Data adapters hold SQL commands that define how to fetch, select, and modify, insert, update, delete data. This can be configured using properties or through constructors. Example of using data adapters. Later I will demonstrate how to use a data adapter to retrieve data from a SQL Server database and update database based on modifications made in dataset. Data adapters are essential for managing data interaction in ADO.NET, providing a means to retrieve, update, and manipulate data in a disconnected manner. They facilitate ease of use when working with datasets and automate much of command handling needed for database operations, making them a powerful tool for data-driven applications. Creating, reading, updating, and deleting data. Let's demonstrate how to insert, retrieve, update, and delete data using ADO.NET classes. That means using SqlConnection, SqlCommand, SqlDataReader, and SqlDataAdapter classes. The process of performing CRUD, create, read, update, delete operations is essential in software development. I hope this demonstration will make you all clear on CRUD operations. Let's go to lab. In this lab session, we want to work with the employee info, where the information like EMP ID, EMP name, designation, and department will be inserted into the table TBL employee in database TB employee info in SQL Server. We need to create a database with 3 tables such as TBL employee, TBL department, and TBL designation. In order to perform the entire development process, we want to follow some steps. In the first step, let's create a simple design with text box, drop-down list, button, and grid view. Create a new page named FRM EMP. Default.aspx is the home page. We want to set the home page as startup page. When we run the program, this page will be displayed as the home page, and we create a link with the FRM EMP page.
This is the home page. This page is previously designed with this template. Now we create a link in this menu, employee, after home. This is the site master page. Let's open this page. Find out the link menu. This is the menu. This is our design. Now in the second step we want to create a database and 3 tables as per requirement. Okay, let's create a database. Database DB employee info is created with the table TBL employee. In the TBL employee, there are 4 columns. MP ID contain the employee ID. MP name, designation, department. In the column designation contain the designation ID, not designation name. Department contain the department ID. This is integer value. That's why we created the data type integer. Let's create another 2 table, TBL designation and TBL department. Three tables employee info, department designation is created. Now we want to insert some sample data. In the third step, we want to write code to insert the data into the tables. Let's create a class and method for inserting the data into the tables. This is our class CLS_MyLib. Now we want to create a method as a member of this class, insert data. Insert data method has three parameters. First parameter table is used to pass the table name. Second parameter field list. Field list specifies the field's name. Which fields name are used to store the data. Third parameter is val. Val is used to contain the value for the fields. Let's define some variables. we need a label to display the animations. Insert data method is created. Now we want to call from the EMP page. Let's write a code to call the method from FRM EMP page. Let's create the event handler of submit button. Field variable contain the column name of tables. This is the employee info table. This column name basically contain the designation ID. So logically the name should be designation ID. Department also renamed department ID. Need to correction in the grid view. Let's take another list variable to store the value of the fields. As the EMP ID is created automatically, so we don't need to insert the EMP ID. Okay. We need to add some items in the designation and department. The variable table is used the first parameter of the method of insert data. Field list variable is used in the second parameter, which contain the field name or column name of the table. Val is the third parameter of the method insert data, which contain the value of the fields. We need to create the instance of the class. This is the instance of the class CLSMylib. CLSMylib is the instance. Here, if the caption of the submit button is submit, data will be inserted. Else if caption of submit button is update, data is updating. Here, insert data method return 1 if the single row is affected. Then employee info is saved successfully message displayed. Otherwise, employee info is not saved and error which is contained the result variable is displayed. Let's check. This is the queries. Insert into TBL employee MP name, designation ID, department ID, values at employee name, at designation ID, at department ID. This method return 1, that is single row is affected. Finally, my connection is closed. Employee info is set successfully. Let's check the database. Employee ID 4, Thomas, designation ID 1. Let's check the program to run whether the program is correct or not. Program is working correctly. Let's check if the wrong data is inputted. Let's say wrong field name. MP name 1. It's a wrong field name. Now I want to see what is happened. Employee info is not saved. Error invalid column name EMP name 1. Let's analyze the code. Main part of this programming is the class and insert data method of this class. Here insert data method is defined. First query is made with the field list and their values as per requirement of query. Fields and values are arranged using for each loop and parameters are also prepared. Finally, complete query is created with the table, fields and parameters and assigned to the variable myQuery for using later. Here SqlConnection make a connection myCon with the connection string myCon string, which is defined in the top of the page. We know about the connection string. It specifies the server name, database name and the server credential. Here SqlCommand make a command myCMD with the database query myQuery and the database connectivity myCon. myCMD. This is assumed to be an instance of a SQL command, which is a class used to execute a command against a SQL Server database. myCMD.parameters. myCMD.parameters is a collection of SQL parameter objects associated with the SQL command. This collection is used to pass parameters to the SQL query safely. Add with value. This method of SQL parameter collection is used to add a new parameter to the command's parameters collection. It takes two parameters. One, the name of the parameter must correspond to a parameter in the SQL command text. Number two, the value to assign to the parameter. Here parameters are @empName, @designation, @department. @empName is the parameter name. It is prefixed with @, which is a convention in SQL Server to indicate that it's a parameter and not a literally string or column name in the SQL statement. empName is a variable likely of type string in this case that holds the actual value you want to pass to the SQL command as a parameter. SQL command with parameters. The purpose of using parameters is to prevent SQL injection attacks and to ensure that the SQL command executes correctly, especially when user input is involved. By using parameters, the database engine treats the input values correctly and safely. In this line, connection will be opened. Here the command is executed by using the method execute non-query. This method returned the value, in this case return 1. That means the single row is affected. If the multiple row is affected, then 2, 3 are returned. If it returns the -1, the exception is occurred. Finally, connection close. Now I want to write the code for retrieving the data. Let's create the method retrieved data. Need to create a query. It will be easy for us to create the query if we create the query with a view. Let's create a view in the database. we need to modify the grid view as per our view. This is our view. Notice the column header, and this is our grid view. Look at the header text. Header text data bound field are the identical with the view column. Let's check the program whether data is loaded into the grid view or not. Data is loaded as per the view. Now I want to create a method isDuplicate. Before inserting any data, I want to check whether it is duplicate or not. If the retrieved data returned the null, isDuplicate function returned false. That means isDuplicate is false. There is no duplicate data. If it returns value, then it returns true. That means data is duplicate. Let's its call from the EMP form. Duplicate employee cannot be inserted. Now I am going to write a code for data update. Let's write a code for the data update method in the class. Let's open the class cls mylib. Let's write a code for the public data update method. Need to update the grid view. Add a column for edit button and another column for delete button. Let's add two more column for edit and delete button. We need to create a hidden field to hold the employee ID. When click on the edit button, the caption of the submit button changes to update. Notice that when we click on this row, Thomas is populated in the employee name, but the Thomas designation is executive, which is not populated in the designation. And also department name human resource is not populated. We need to check. We need to load the drop down item value from the database table. Okay, let's write the code for that. We want to remove this. Instead of that, we want to create a method which loads the data into the drop-down list from a database table, designation and department. As the method for loading the data from a database table to a drop-down list box is required to call many times. That's why it's better to create a method in a class. Okay, let's go to class and create a method. All the fields are populated properly. Emblem Thomas, designation executive and department human resource, manager marketing, Harry. In this line, the extra field emp id is added to the field list variable. As this field is used in the where condition, this field is tagged with the COND. That will be help to separate the emp id from the field list in the method in the class. In the field list, if the field value is found with the COND, then break the loop. Before where emp id equal to 3, need to create a space. Now we have to create a method in the class which delete the data. Delete data method. Let's create a delete data method in the class. Let's check the program whether data is deleted or not.